Ever wonder what really went down at Diddy's highly secretive white parties? The kind of over-the-top events where, weirdly enough, even kids showed up. What about Jay-Z's private gatherings, where he once stabbed someone and still managed to walk away? Without catching a charge, these are just some of the wild stories hiding behind some of the rap games. Most exclusive parties, these gatherings are places where deals get locked in, alliances take shape, and the kind of stuff you wouldn't believe goes down. Before we dive into how these exclusive bashes became the center of so much chaos and control, let's break down some of the most secret parties thrown by rappers. Diddy's white parties from 1998 to 2009. Diddy's all-white parties were the peak of exclusivity. Theirs weren't just your average celebrity get-togethers. They were cultural moments hosted in the Hamptons or Beverly Hills, dripping in luxury and packed with the biggest stars in entertainment. I know, you're known for the parties. When you think of a party or a good time, you think of Puff You Do. Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton. If your name carried weight, you were there. But while the surface screamed glitz and glamour, their stories lurking underneath told a different tale. These parties had one major rule: no cameras, no media, whatever went down stayed behind those mansion doors. And that secrecy wasn't just about protecting celebrity privacy, it created a mystique that made the parties even more desirable. Inside, the A-listers mingled, networked, and let loose in ways they never could with prying eyes around. But the real story was in the after-parties, where the glitch turned into something far darker. Those who stayed for the after-parties weren't getting the Polish version of Diddy's events anymore. Allegations suggest these late-night sessions took a hard turn, pushing boundaries that left some guests questioning what they had walked into. The FBI's current investigation into these parties has people wondering if the tight secrecy was less about privacy and more about covering up activities Noon wanted in the spotlight. Diddy's all-white parties were a masterclass in control. Every detail was locked down, from the vibe in the room to the double-secured doors. But now, years later, those layers of secrecy have become suspect. Kids have like an hour left, so get extra comfortable, kids, cause after that y'all gotta go. It's a wrap for y'all. Cause this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, don't want to come to. Allegations tied to these events paint a picture of manipulation, exploitation, and abuse. Nothing like the glamorous, carefree image the parties once sold to the world. Even before the rumors hit the surface, neighbors started noticing things that didn't sit right. Women leaving those events were visibly disoriented, stumbling out of it with their clothes disheveled. Some were seen wandering aimlessly, their underwear exposed, which was a shocking contrast to the Polish party narrative Diddy was known for. It made people question what was really happening inside those doors. And then there were the claims about the drinks. Witnesses and survivors have alleged that the beverages weren't just spiked with alcohol. They were laced with drugs like Cine, GHB, ecstasy, and cocaine. These aren't just party drugs, they're substances that strip away someone's ability to consent, leaving them vulnerable. For all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man. The allegations suggest this wasn't accidental. It was intentional, creating an environment where exploitation thrived unchecked and thrive. It did, according to the accounts. These parties reportedly stretched on for days, spiraling into what can only be described as nightmare scenarios. Orgies involving sex workers and high-profile guests were allegedly commonplace, with drugs fueling the entire ordeal. But it wasn't just about sex. Accounts include an ES of physical violence and degradation that turned these gatherings into something far more sinister. Perhaps the most unsettling part of these allegations is the role Diddy's inner circle is said to have played. These weren't just friends or colleagues and joined the party, they were allegedly part of a system designed to exploit women. Were reportedly trapped, mistreated, and filmed. Even more disturbing, the footage wasn't kept. Private claims suggest it was sold, turning those horrifying moments into profit. It's calculated, it's cruel, and it paints a picture that's hard to process. These weren't the kind of parties you just stumbled into. They were locked down, secretive, and tightly controlled. Phones were confiscated at the door, cutting off any chance of evidence escaping the venue. The no phones policy wasn't just about protecting celebrity images. It seemed like it was there to hide the darker truths of what was really happening. One story that stands out comes from Thalia Graves, who filed a lawsuit in 2024. Graves said that back in 2001, Diddy and his bodyguard, Joseph Big Joe Sherman, lured her to a party. At Daddy's house recording studio, the invite came under.